Good evening, young Zoomers. Today, we gather around the campfire as I tell you a generational tale of how positive thinking destroyed my generation, the Millennials. My hope is that you will learn from our mistakes so that you will not repeat them, not repeat them. Kidlin's law. If you can write down the problem clearly, it is already half solved. This law, saying, philosophy, whatever you want to call it, has made a huge impact on my life after I learned about it. I realized how much time I wasted trying to solve the wrong problem because I didn't even know what the actual problem was. Let's say you wake up one day with a serious but curable illness. You don't know exactly what it is, but you're feeling some strange symptoms. If you're just a delusionally optimistic positive thinker, you will convince yourself that it's not a big deal and that it'll just go away. But if you're a doomer, you will instantly recognize that it's a problem, a huge problem, and go see the doctor to get it fixed as soon as possible. I spend a lot of time on this channel shitting on boomers, and rightfully so. But one thing that's inescapable is the fact that millennials are for the most part children of boomers. Gen Z, on the other hand, are mostly children of the more jaded Gen X. And as much as we try to separate ourselves from our parents, there's going to be some irreversible influence from them as we were raised by them in our most formidable years. This goes without saying, but boomers are easily the most insanely delusional, optimistic generation ever. America's the greatest, you can achieve anything if you work hard, etc. To be fair to millennials, we did grow up in the 90s and early 2000s when times were good, and so it made sense to blindly follow the hard-coping, toxic optimism of our boomer parents. But here's the problem. Boomers could afford to be optimistic because they grew up in the booming post-war economy of the 60s. Their optimism matched their socioeconomic conditions, and thus at least it was rooted in reality. Millennials, on the other hand, had the same delusional optimism as our boomer parents, but in this giga-fucked modern economy. That's not good. In fact, that is a recipe for disaster. The best analogy I can give is this. Let's say you get lost in the forest. You find yourself face to face with a hungry grizzly bear that hasn't eaten in 3 days. If your attitude is that you live in the greatest country on earth and that you can do anything if you believe in yourself, even defeat this bear with your bare hands, you're going to get absolutely wrecked. If, on the other hand, you're a doomer and you recognize reality for what it is, you'll accept that no matter how hard you work, you're not going to defeat this grizzly bear. Either you're going to have to calm it down, distract it, run up a tree and escape, whatever. You're going to look for realistic solutions to your current crisis. Sometimes you'll get eaten alive anyways, but at least you give yourself a much better chance of survival.
The hardest, most worrisome parts of this generation is that they have the lowest sense of efficacy. They report an external locus of control, meaning they don't think they can improve their lives. See, millennials thought they could do anything, right? They are the Mark Zuckerberg generation. And that's why we had so many tech founders in that generation. We're not seeing that with these young people.
This lady is actually right for once, factually speaking, but her interpretation of the facts is completely backwards. Yes, she's right that millennials did believe they could do anything. And as a millennial myself, I can safely say that this was the cause of our downfall. For every one Mark Zuckerberg or billionaire tech founder, there's a million, if not more, millennials who believed they could do anything and ended up just getting crushed with an insurmountable amount of student loan debt that will haunt them for the rest of their lives. There are things in life you just objectively can't do. You can't beat Brock Lesnar in a fist fight. You can't jump off a building and expect to grow wings and fly. And for 99% of people, you can't get ahead and make it in this BS economy. Believing that you can isn't just silly, it's actually dangerous. As if you actually try to do any of these things, you're going to be in for a world of pain. So as someone who grew up constantly bombarded with this delusional positive thinking from both my boomer parents and millennial peers, seeing Gen Z's Doomerism is actually quite a refreshing breath of fresh air. I wouldn't even necessarily call it Doomerism, it's more just realism. I mean, the economy and the world are legitimately shit right now. The numbers, statistics, and individual experiences from people all back this up. If you're feeling pessimistic in a world where there are objectively a ton of horrible things going on, is this really being pessimistic or doomer? Or is this just matching your expectations with reality? What do you want me to do? Am I supposed to lie and say things are going great when they're not? When you check the weather report, would you rather it just lie to you and say every single day is going to be perfect sunny weather? Or would you want to know which days are going to be god-awful pouring rain, so you know not to go out or make plans that day? Another great example outside of the economy of how Gen Z Doomerism mogs millennial positive thinking is in the world of dating. Millennial men were the ultimate coping simps when it came to dating. Anytime one of my friends was interested in a girl, there was an unbelievable amount of cope every time it became clear she wasn't interested back. Oh, maybe she didn't read your message yet. Oh, maybe she's just busy. Oh, sometimes girls don't show interest right away. You should keep trying. The last piece of advice, by the way, would literally land you in jail today, which is a perfect example of why positive thinking is so dangerous. But you Gen Z chads, on the other hand, are just built different. You guys will straight up just be like, bro, she read your message, everyone has their phones on them 24/7, she's just not interested, move the fuck on already. This might be a bitter pill to swallow in the moment, but you'll quickly recover and either move on to the next girl, or just give up on dating altogether and chill and play video games. Both options are way better than constantly checking your phone for months on end, waiting for a text when you already knew she wasn't interested. Believe me, older generations of men actually did this a lot, and it was excruciatingly painful to watch. A lot of you guys have been asking me to provide actual solutions instead of only pointing out problems. For all I know, I'm just another delusional millennial positive thinker, and you Gen Z doomer chads might be wiser than me when it comes to solutions. But if you want my advice, here it is. Be a doomer and give up on things that are outside of your control. This is why I've said young men should give up on work, and in some cases on dating, because those things are outside of your control. Whether a girl or a company accepts you or not is entirely their decision. And so, putting a ton of time, energy, and effort in hopes of getting someone else's approval is a losing game for most people. But have a little positive thinking and optimism when it comes to your own life and things you do have control over. Work out, eat healthy, learn to cook your own meals, find hobbies and passions you enjoy, get good at something, whether that's a sport or a video game, and do it all for yourself and your own personal fulfillment. You don't need the approval of your parents, society, women, or anyone else. If you would like to see a more detailed guide as to how you can do all these things, check out this video right here.